Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. We'll give a minute here for everyone to join us. See the attendees list going up here, so we'll give it a minute. My name is Anique Petit. I'm a senior director with Academic Alliances here at ASU, and our role is to work closely with community colleges, especially those in Arizona. So we like to give this spring training series every spring and then some more trainings and during transfer week in the fall. So welcome, welcome. We're so excited to have you here with us this afternoon. Our esteemed colleagues and folks from the community colleges in Arizona. These are our presenters today to talk with you. Everyone from folks from Academic Alliances, as well as admissions, ASU Online, and special guests from our W.P. Carey School of Business, as well as our Watts College. And so we'll go ahead and get started. We'll start off with a video from a student, which we always love to do because that is the reason we are all in our jobs. This is a student that came to us through Northland Pioneer. So why don't we show that now?
My name is Angelica Abeda. I'm also known as Angel. I come from the Hopi Reservation, northeastern Arizona. I am an ASU online student with W.P. Carey School of Business, majoring in business administration. And I transferred from Northland Pioneer College. I chose ASU because it was always a dream of mine to attend ASU and to accomplish that type of goal. And in researching ASU, I read numerous articles on the reputation of the W.P. Carey program and the commitment that the program and the professors have to their students of the business school. And I was happy to have the ability to be an online student because, being up here on the reservation, it's hard to relocate. So having that online platform definitely made my decision a lot easier to be able to fulfill and soon accomplish my goal of graduating from ASU. My path to ASU helped in the application process and also ensured that the business program was a right choice for me. My inspiration for higher education is my eldest sister, Amelda. In 2017, my sister had passed. Every accomplishment I've obtained, I've dedicated those directly to my sister because I feel that I'm doing this not only for myself, but her and my family as well.
Love those testimonials. You'll hear more about those in a little bit. So in today's session, we will cover some MyPath and enrollment data regarding community colleges in Arizona outside of the Maricopa community colleges. We will talk a bit about new things going on in partnership marketing and engagement, as well as hearing from Academic Transfer Credit Solutions. And then we'll have some ASU College updates as shared prior. And then at about the halfway point during the webinar, we'll switch gears and we will give a refresher training for anybody who would like to stay on the webinar with us and get updates for how to use MyPath, how to assist students with our transfer tools. You'll hear from admissions, you'll hear from ASU Online, and we will end that way. So please feel free to stay for all of it. Hopefully that will interest you. So let's go ahead and look at some MyPath data. So these are, of course, the students still studying with you all. And this is reporting out on the 22-23 academic year. So you can see here how those pathway numbers were looking. This shows the online and immersion pathways combined. It's a little bit down since the prior year. But we also saw enrollments going down a little bit as sort of like a COVID wave coming through from the community colleges and on into ASU a couple years later. So I think the pathways reflect that as well. So if we can move on to the next slide, this shows you enrollment trends. So this shows you how many students have enrolled with us with the different modalities of in-person and ASU online during those years. And what's interesting here, of course, is the in-person enrollments you see going down a little bit, of course, through COVID-19 and an uptick with ASU online. We saw a huge shift during that time, and you can see it continue to increase a little bit in 22, 23. So it'll be interesting to see how the trends sort of change or not change moving forward for the current academic year. But we'll report out on that next spring. So here you can see the enrollment trends by college. So we have every college in Arizona represented here outside of the Maricopa Community Colleges. So you can check out your college if you see it on here. And we also recently shared out annual reports with all of your presidents. So hopefully you've seen that annual report. And if you have not, be sure to ask for it. I'm sure they will share it with you. It was given to presidents and in some cases, some VPs as well, if requested. So this is what the MyPath sort of information looks like. And we have some 23-24 data in there for you as well. So we have just over 3,000 students who are on active pathways currently at your community colleges who are interested in coming to ASU. So you can see the signups per academic year there represented. We are not done with this year yet, so that number will go up. But for 22-23, it was about 774, and their top programs of interest can be seen there on the right. And with that, I will pass it over to Melanie Pashenik, and she will go over some highlights regarding marketing and promotions.
Thank you, Annie. So with the marketing and communications, we try to keep things updated and new and think of new ways we can continue doing campaigns with our partners. And one of those is we create co-branded materials, including web assets. So we've created new graphics that our partners can use in both their web materials, their social media campaigns. We also do targeted email campaigns as well as social media campaigns. And we've also created updated marketing toolkits for our community college partners, many of which we've done refresh campaigns, and we continue to work with our partners to do refresh campaigns going forward if we haven't already. Another big thing we love to do is student testimonial campaigns, and what better way to highlight your community college and our partnership than through the transfer student themselves. And with this, we do student videos, social media campaigns, student stories that get published throughout our ASU community, through ASU News. And we share that with the community college as well for use in your communications. And then we also have our resources and regular content, such as a MyPath to ASU flyer. We have a monthly newsletter called Transfer Times. And if you don't receive this, we would love to include you on our distribution list. It's a great way to stay informed of things happening, such as spring training and other updates related to transfer. We do a student monthly newsletter, a MyPath newsletter for prospective transfer students. And we also do different, again, biannual training, such as spring training and one during the fall for National Transfer Week. So we want to continue with our partnerships, thinking of additional ways to continue highlighting our partnerships and highlighting our transfer students. And with that, we've been doing these testimonial campaigns that have really been resonating with our audiences. Again, who better to hear from transfer students themselves? So with these micro testimonial campaigns, we've been creating social media campaigns on all of our social media channels. And we love to have students representing all of our Arizona community colleges. And so it's really great to have that representation throughout the state of Arizona. And it's very inspirational for students to see other transfer students from, where they went to school. So if you ever know of students from your community college who have transferred to ASU or are on my path to ASU, planning their transfer and may be interested, feel free to send them my way. We would love to reach out and, maybe you will then see them in our next testimonial campaign. And with that, I will pass it over to Kathy Silverman.
Thanks. Hi, everybody. I work in academic alliances with Anika and Melanie. And I just wanted to touch on some of the highlights from 22-23 in ways that we engaged with you and are continuing to engage with you in this academic year. We did a lot of campus visits and transfer fair participation. You saw us at your campuses, and if you'd like to see us more at your campuses and have us do collaborative projects with you, just let us know. We'll do whatever we can to make that happen. We have transfer student ambassadors. There are 5 of them right now. One is from AWC, one is from EAC, and the others are from various Maricopa schools. And so here's a little plug. If you know of any students who want to get a job on campus when they come to ASU, please let them know that we're always looking for good transfer student ambassadors who can share their experience with community college students. So keep in touch with me on that if you think of anybody. But these transfer student ambassadors also did Q&A sessions, like kind of panel discussions, if you will, and Fun Friday webinars. So both of those were virtual. And then as time goes on and as travel may be approved, then we can look at maybe doing some more things in person. We also customized virtual presentations to several different groups of advisors and counselors at Pima, Yavapai, and Mojave. And we piloted our My Partner portal, which is used for making pathway updates and asking questions about curriculum and pathways. We piloted, I can't say that today, with AWC, but now it's open to all partners. So if you need to know more about that, just let me know and we'll get you caught up on that so that you know how that works. And there's only a couple people at each institution that have access to that. So if you need to know who those people are, just let us know. We also had a small group presenting accessing ASU, taking out the guesswork at last year's AZ Transfer Summit. And ASU is also presenting a couple sessions at this year's summit in the end of April. And about 500 faculty, staff, and administrators at your colleges receive our Transfer Times newsletter and event invitations. So like Melanie offered, and it's also in the chat if you'd like to add any of your new colleagues on there, or if you're not on there and you'd like to be, just let us know. We wanted to also remind you about our College Connections webinars, which have been really well received. We started these as a result of the recommendation of advisors saying that they wanted to go a little bit more in depth with academic information, not just enrollment and MyPath information. And so we reached out to our colleges and schools, and they've been offering these workshops for you so that you can ask those nitty-gritty academic questions. So we hope you'll join us at these. And we are going to post the slide deck on our website after this is over. So then you'll be able to access those registration links if you don't already have them through email. And I'm going to turn things over to Sierra from Academic Transfer Credit Solutions now.
Hi, my name is Sierra Watkin, and I'm a specialist senior in Academic Transfer Credit Solutions. Today, I'd like to review with you some of the functions of the ASU Transfer Guide. To access the Transfer Guide, please visit tcg.asu.edu. That your URL is across the top of the page for your reference. The functions we will be looking at today are the course search, My Path to ASU, exam search, and My Transfer Guide. So the course search enables you or your students to search for existing equivalencies within the Transfer Guide. Simply select the transfer institution, course prefix, and number to locate the course in the Transfer Guide. The ASU equivalency will appear in the gray box at the bottom. My Path to ASU can assist students in degree exploration. Students can choose their ASU major, degree type, college or school, and location, and view how coursework from their transfer institution fulfills requirements for that degree plan. This particular student would see how courses from Santa Monica College transfer into the ASU Filmmaking Practices BA. The exam search allows you to view how credit from examinations apply to the student's records. Test types include AP, Cambridge, CLEP, DSST, and IB. It may also be helpful to note that equivalents are dependent on the time frame students took their test. And lastly, My Transfer Guide gives students a personalized view of their transfer to ASU. They're able to view their signed MyPath agreements as well as any saved or favorited MyPaths. They can also view any evaluation requests they've submitted. And I will pass the presentation along to Angela.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Angela Martinez. I am Mission Coordinator Senior with W. Carey School of Business. So W. Carey does have over 30 different business degrees. It was nice seeing the highlight of someone in the business administration degree. The Bachelor of Arts degrees that are in black, as well as the highlighted degree programs, all require a 3.0 or higher transfer GPA. The Bachelor of Science degrees also do have an additional requirement that does look at high school. But really, today I'd like to focus on two of our newest degree programs. So that would be the Applied Business and Technology Solutions, BATS that we call for short, and the Entrepreneurial Leadership degree, which we call BELLS. Both of these degree programs are non-calculus based, so they do allow students who may not be as strong in the math but have a focus on business to have that opportunity to dive into these degree programs. We also have certain concentrations that the students can choose. These degree programs are offered online, the Polytechnic campus, as well as West Valley. They all include many of our business skill classes, so they do require students to take macro and microeconomics, statistics, computer information systems. However, they do have different accounting courses as part of their business skill. And the main requirement for these degree programs is Math 117. For the admission requirements, they are also slightly different for these degree programs. So if you go to the next slide, if students are transferring with their associate's degrees and they are Arizona residents, that requirement would be a 2.0 or higher transfer GPA. So for those students who may be interested in a business degree but aren't quite at that 3.0 for the other Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Science degrees, this is another great option. And then if they have 12 to 24 credits, they would be that 2.5 or higher GPA. So again, these are great opportunities for students who want to focus on business and may not have that strong calculus math GPA, where they can have different concentrations in many of the different business degree programs. And I will pass this off to Erica, Watts College.
Hi, thank you everyone for joining today. My name is Erica Mariano. I am the Assistant Director for Recruitment here at the Watts College of Public Service and Community Solutions. That is a mouthful, so typically we just go by Watts or Watts College. Here at Watts, we are creating the next generation of public service leaders. Never has there been more of a need for public service leaders, not only to be prepared, but passionate for creating change in our community. We don't just teach public service, we do it. So this is an overview of all of the different programs that Watts College does offer. For the purposes of today's presentation, we're going to focus on the Bachelor's of Social Work program. So what is social work? I have to admit, when I first came to Watts, I thought it was just working with children and families, but that's not the case. It is a profession that focuses on helping others, specifically focuses on people in their environment, not necessarily just their presenting situation. So as you're meeting with students and they are sharing with you that they want to create change in their communities, or they want to go into like counseling, or even sometimes when you hear students say that they want to go into psychology, what is it that they want to do with psychology? And oftentimes when you ask those questions and dig a little deeper, it ends up being they may be interested in a social work degree. So what they do learn in the social work program is problem solving, advocacy, counseling, community organization. Our School of Social Work has been around since the mid-60s. So, and it is accredited through the Council of Social Work Education. So that's one key piece to keep in mind when you are assisting students in looking at different social work programs. Not all social work programs are accredited. Students that graduate with the Bachelor's of Social Work do become eligible for the one-year graduate program. And so just to paint the picture for you, when they graduate in May and they walk across the stage, about a week or two later, they start their graduate program. And then that following May, they walk across stage with the master's degree, and they are able to sit for licensure. Students who graduate with the Bachelor's of Social Work do qualify to sit for licensure, but we strongly encourage them to go on to complete a graduate or their master's degree in social work, because it does allow more doors to be open to them. So that's something to keep in mind when you are working with students. There is an embedded internship, and there's over 2,000 different social work internship sites across the state. When you are the majority of social work alumni or social workers in the state of Arizona are alumni of our program. And then we do offer the program right now at downtown Phoenix and our West Valley locations, as well as Sink and Tucson. So for those of you who are helping students decide like what are the requirements, general admission requirements, general math. So especially for those students who are interested in psychology, they may not realize that psychology is a STEM program and does require the pre-calculus. If not before they apply to ASU, they do need to complete it by the time they graduate. So so just keeping in mind that if they are a little bit more intimidated by math, that the social work program does just require general college math. But I will be dropping my contact in the chat, so please feel free to reach out if you have any additional questions on this program. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So this brings us to the part of our presentation where we're switching gears and going more into kind of basic training for transfer at ASU. So we'll start off with some info about my path to ASU and then move into all of these other areas that you see here. So if you've heard it all a million times, thanks for coming, and we'll see you later. But we'd love for anybody who wants this info or a refresher to go ahead and stay on with us. So benefits of My Path to ASU. I like how it's all on one slide, so you can kind of, you can keep all of this in mind as you're working with students when they ask, why should I sign up for it, instead of just looking at the information online. Students do save time and money overall on their college education. When they start with you, they maximize their transfer credit. They're using My Path to ASU so they know exactly what to take, and then they transfer to ASU. They follow a customized course by course and term by term pathway that's all laid out for them. And then they can track their progress on that tool, My Transfer Guide that Sierra mentioned. And we'll take a look at that in just a moment. They also receive personalized communications all along the way when they're with you. So, and these are very specific in nature, like the right time, the right information at the right time. We're not trying to get them to transfer early. We're trying to get them that information that they need so that they can plan wisely. So they do get invitations to online and in-person events, and they find out about important deadlines. They also hear from the dean of their college so that they learn more about the academic aspects of what they're going into. And they are guaranteed admission into the program of their choice, as long as they meet all of their pathway requirements. So not just the coursework, but also any additional admission requirements that are listed on that pathway. It's all centralized on there. So if they complete that, then they know that there's a place waiting for them at ASU. Well, they do have to apply too. So here's the URL that I like to use. There's different ways to get into My Path to ASU. Even if you Google though, you know, you'll get there. But here's the shortest one. So keep this in mind. This is a great one to bookmark and to share out with students. It takes you to this page. And so then you have these two buttons here at the bottom. On the left, it's Get Started with My Path to ASU, and that's for actually signing up for a pathway. And then Search My Path majors is for you all to use, and also for students who just want to explore first instead of just signing up first. Maybe they're comparing majors and still thinking things over about what they want to do. So it's great because you don't have to sign up for an account just to be able to access the information to help your students. And so for anybody who hasn't ever gotten a look at My Path to ASU, I wanted to share this video so that you can see how nice and easy it is to use. We'll get that started. Okay, so that's the exploration phase when you're just looking at all of those requirements on the pathways. And when students are ready to sign up, they can click right on the pathway. There's a sign up button, or they can go to that URL I gave you, and that's at the bottom of the slide here. They indicate where they're going to college with you. So the student's going to CAC, and then they indicate which major they would like to pursue at ASU. The degree, the college, and the location all narrow down for them, so they don't have to guess what, you know, if it's a BS, a BSE, a BA, and so on, and all of those different choices. So it kind of makes it really easy for them to see where it's offered and which college is offering their major. They also indicate when they plan to come to ASU so that we know what kinds of communication they would need. They, of course, enter information about themselves so that we know who they are and who's signing up for what. And then they sign off acknowledging that FERPA allows our institutions as partners to share their academic information on their behalf to help them have that smooth transfer. And then at that point, they're able to set up a password and go into My Transfer Guide. And when they log back in from then on, they're just going to see that button for My Transfer Guide that is circled there. And they're going to sign in on the side that says I registered without an ASU account, unless they've ever come to ASU or been admitted to ASU before, then they would sign up on the other side. And this is a look at My Transfer Guide. It looks very similar to what we just saw. It's a little bit more interactive, and that students can mark in progress and complete it on their classes. They can also print this as a PDF if that, or save it as a PDF if that helps with your advisement sessions with them. You might have noticed that there's an option to submit an evaluation for a course if there's not an equivalency. And so if you ever want to do that, you can do it through your the My Partner portal that I mentioned before. And you can always reach out to us if you need any help or have any questions about course equivalencies. So your courses are right down that middle column. This is just a close-up of what we just saw. The course search at the top allows students to enter any course that they've taken, when they took it, and see how it would transfer to ASU and possibly apply to their program. The My Path tab is what we're looking at right now. And then the exam search allows them to look up those tests that Sierra mentioned before, like CLEP and IB and AP. And student resources is kind of a potpourri tab with a little bit of everything, including some FAQs. And so just wanted to take a little closer look at that. Oh, there's those 4 tabs. All right, I'm going to turn things over to my colleague Melanie now.
Thank you, Kathy. So one of the really great benefits for your students, as mentioned earlier, is that they're entered into the communications flow. So it's a great way for your students to stay on top of important dates and deadlines as they go through that enrollment cycle. They'll also receive invitations to university events, both in person and virtual. And then they'll also start to receive communications from the college that they indicated on their pathway. And that includes a welcome email from the dean of their college and ways to start becoming involved with the college and start building that connection to both the college and the university, even before they begin their first semester at ASU. They'll also receive a welcome email from our transfer student ambassadors that are all transfer students from the community colleges themselves. And speaking of our transfer student ambassadors, they are just such a fantastic resource for transfer students. They serve as sort of a liaison to the university. It's a great way for your students to connect with other transfer students from the community colleges who've been through this process themselves. They can help answer questions your students may have, help them navigate the university if they're not sure who to go to, and really share what their transfer journey was like. And one of the really fun things the TSAs do is they hold their very own peer-to-peer webinar called Fun Fridays with the TSAs. And this is held the first Friday of each month. And I really encourage your students to attend one of these webinars. It's another great opportunity for your students to talk to other students who've gone through this journey themselves. They share what their experience was like, things they learned along the way, things they wish they knew along the way. You know, they get asked everything from how did you make friends to, you know, figure out parking, or where did you live, or if you're online, how did you feel more a part of the, you know, community. And then they can also help if your students haven't yet signed up for My Path to ASU, they can help with that as well. So it's just another fantastic resource that I hope your students will take advantage of. Our TSAs would love to hear from them. So feel free to have them reach out and make that connection. And then we also have really great student resources that are also really helpful for you when you're meeting with students. We have our My Path to ASU flyer that gives an overview of My Path to ASU as well as the transfer admission process. And then we have a whole library of digital transfer resources that you can use and share with your students, with resources from admission services, financial aid and scholarships, housing, Barrett, the Honors College, and more. So it's another great tool that we have that, again, is really resourceful for you as well as for your students. And then we also have the student videos similar to the one that we showed you earlier, along with others that you might want to check out on our Academic Alliances resource page. And then we hope, if you're not already, that you follow us on our social media channels. We're on all the regular ones, X, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. It's a great way for you to stay updated on events that are happening, special webinars like spring training. This is where, again, you might see your own students highlighted in different campaigns that we're doing. This is also where we announce new partnerships or our existing partnerships when we do refresh campaigns. So it's just another great way for you to stay updated and informed. It's always fun, as you can see here, when you see your own alumni being highlighted. So we hope that you check out our social media channels. And now we will pass it to Richard from Admissions Services.
Thanks so much, Melanie. Hi, everyone. I'm so glad that you were able to join us today. My name is Richard Frischie. I'm the Associate Director for Transfer Recruitment at Arizona State University, and I manage the team of transfer recruitment coordinators that assists prospective transfer students that are interested in transferring to what we call campus immersion. And so those are students that would like to transfer to one of our physical locations, primarily our Metropolitan Phoenix campuses. And so I'm going to walk through some slides that we actually present to our prospective students regularly in our visit programs and as well as when we're out in the field. And that way you can see what your students are seeing. And so I know most everyone in this room is at least familiar with Arizona. Some of you may be more familiar with Phoenix than others. I would say, though, even if you would describe yourself as very familiar with Phoenix, you'd be surprised how quickly things are changing here in Phoenix, for the better, obviously. Phoenix is one of the fastest growing cities in the country, and we're seeing a lot of really exciting new developments that are going to have a directly positive effect on our students. So just to give you a couple examples, a couple years ago, the PBS NewsHour announced that they were going to launch their Western-focused broadcast based out of the Cronkite School of Journalism in the downtown Phoenix campus. I don't know about y'all, but I watch the NewsHour regularly. I actually just watched it on my lunch break today. It's a fantastic program, and our students are able to get involved in those experiential opportunities from day one, not just in journalism, but in all of our other programs as well. A couple other examples that were in the news recently, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company is currently building a ginormous fabrication facility for semiconductors and other similar materials out in the West Valley near Peoria. And so we've had some activation events happening on our West Valley campus to really help make sure that our students are prepared to be a pipeline into those very well-paying jobs. President Biden also recently paid a visit to Intel's Ocotillo campus in Chandler to announce a multi-billion-dollar effort to boost semiconductor manufacturing in the United States. And one of the biggest reasons why these huge, very well-known companies are choosing Phoenix to invest in is in part because of the incredibly high-quality talent that ASU produces. And so we are funneling these students into these very well-paying, fast-growing jobs. Phoenix is very quickly becoming a hotbed of opportunity for folks to launch their careers. And so digging a little deeper on the next slide, I'll tell you a little more about our Metropolitan Phoenix campuses. And so at ASU, we call ourselves one university in many places. Those of you that are familiar with ASU maybe have been to this before. I'm sure you've heard this spiel before, so my apologies. But if you're newer and maybe don't have as much exposure with ASU, the way our campuses work is that we strategically place each and every one of our over 400 degree programs onto specifically the campus that is going to maximize a student's opportunities in that program. And so each of these campuses, there are things about them that are the same and also different. So the things that are the same are the academic quality, the access to top-tier faculty, student services, and all the services that you would expect: housing, dining, recreation, police, admissions, financial aid, registrar, everything that you would need is offered at these campuses. But what makes them different is their size, as well as some of the academic focus areas that you'll find on these campuses. And so for students that are looking for a large urban environment to study at ASU, absolutely they can get that experience here. That tends to be the experience that most students know about when they think of ASU. And so students can absolutely find that at our Tempe or downtown Phoenix campuses. But what many students may not realize realize is that you can also get a small liberal arts college kind of environment at ASU as well. Not everybody thrives in that big hustle and bustle kind of environment. And at ASU, we really have something that is available to everyone. And so if you have or know of any students that may fall into that latter category, definitely have them check out our West Valley or Polytechnic campuses. Although we do have very large aspirations to grow those campuses, they are well known as intimate, tight-knit communities where everybody knows each other. Not to say that there's nothing to do, right? Because there's always something going on here at ASU, but for students looking for that more tight-knit environment, they can absolutely find that at ASU. And then on the next slide, I'm going to show you a little more about our other locations because aside from our 4 metropolitan Phoenix campuses, we have so many other areas that students can either get an entire degree from ASU or where they can get some supplemental academic experience while they're based at another campus. And so some of these you may already be familiar with, especially if you've known about ASU for a while. For example, our Tucson campus, our Lake Havasu City campus, our campus out at Arizona Western College in Yuma, our Washington, D.C. campus. But we've got some new stuff going on as well. We recently acquired the Fashion Institute for Design and Merchandising, or FIDM. That is a top tier fashion program in Los Angeles. And so we now have a very significant presence in downtown Los Angeles. I was just there a couple weeks ago for their open house, and it is really a fabulous facility that is not only opening up opportunities for California residents, but also offering Arizona students a chance to study in California while still paying Arizona resident tuition rates, which is really, really cool. And then for those that are looking to stay within Arizona, we do have some new things I want to point out as well, specifically our ASU at Mesa City Center. I love this building because I'm a Mesa native myself. I went to Westwood High School, and so I love to see investment in my hometown. There's some really cool new emerging technologies happening in the media space, and ASU wants to be on the forefront of those technologies. And so at the Mesa City Center, your students are going to find cutting edge opportunities to explore augmented reality, virtual reality, and other emerging technologies as they apply to the media space, and they can study in state-of-the-art facilities. And then our Health Feature Center up in North Phoenix is located close to the Mayo Clinic, which is out in way North Phoenix by the 101. And right now, there's a whole lot of desert around those buildings, but what is planned for that area is a massive bioscience corridor that's going to be anchored, obviously, by ASU and the Mayo Clinic. And the idea is to turn ASU into one of the top states in the country for bioscience and biotechnology innovation. And of course, ASU got in on the ground floor with that. And so if those sound like exciting opportunities for your students, definitely have them check out ASU. And so now I want to go into some of the online tools and resources that your students, that I would recommend your students use to help them find their fit at ASU. So you might have heard me mention that we have over 400 degree programs. Those of you that have known ASU for a while used to know that we used to say 300, then it was 350. Now we've passed the 400 mark. And I get it, right? That is a huge number. That's more than many other universities that your students might be looking at. And it can be very daunting, right? Especially if your students are anything like me when I was going into college and really had no idea what I wanted to study, right? And so never fear, we have some tools that can help make that process a little less intimidating, starting with our degree search, which is where students can find comprehensive information about any one of our degree programs, which includes a program description, math intensity, career opportunities, study abroad opportunities, admission requirements. They'll find a handy link to My Path to ASU that's already pre-filled in with that major, and also contact information for the academic advisors or recruiters in that office, in that department, that can give students more in-depth information about those degree programs. And then for students that really have no idea where to start, that's fine. We've got some quizzes, some pretty fun quizzes they can take that can help narrow down their options. And so the first one is Me3. This one's been around for a while, for those of you that know, but for those of you that don't know, it's a really fun quiz. I would definitely recommend taking it yourself if you want. I've taken it myself, and it's really fun, and it's pretty quick too. Basically, this quiz is going to present you with 60 different sets of workplace images. And all you have to do as a user of that quiz is click the workplace images that you like the best, right? So if you prefer to work in a lab compared to teaching in a classroom, you pick that picture, right? And so on and so forth. And then it's going to take your responses and match you with careers and associated degree programs that are going to match your responses. And that can serve as a jumping off point for your students' major exploration. We also have a similar quiz for Campus Fit, right? So we've got all these campuses and they have the same academic quality. So how do you choose which one's right for you? You know, maybe you're interested in a major that's offered at multiple campuses and you have no idea which one to choose. Take our Campus Fit quiz and we're going to ask you some questions about what specifically you're looking for from your college experience. And we're going to match you to the campus that best fits your needs. And then the experience quiz, it's kind of like a personality quiz that's more tailored toward higher education. And so we've got all these different personas that students can be assigned based on their responses. And I mean, I don't know how much science there is behind it, but honestly, it's just really fun, right? Because no one student fits into the same cookie cutter mold, right? And we actually like to tailor our communications based on the type of student that they identify. And so definitely take this quiz too, see what you get. I took it and turns out I'm a focused futurist, which means I don't like a lot of fluff. I really like, you know, folks that get to the point. I want to just get my degree, get out and move on to the next thing. And I know that describes many of the students I work with as well. And so anyway, just some fun stuff for you to keep in mind. And then getting on a more serious note, I do want to make sure you're aware of the financial resources that are available to both you and your students as well. And so at ASU, when we do these presentations, I actually prefer not to include slides about here's how much tuition is, because what you're going to find is that there is no one tuition number that applies to every single student. At ASU, we are all about personalization, and that comes to the tuition and fees as well. The idea is we don't want students paying for things they're not using or not going to need, right? So if you imagine the cost of delivering a degree, there's a different cost associated with delivering a mechanical engineering degree compared to the cost of delivering, say, an English or a communications degree, right? And so if I just gave you one tuition number, that may not apply to all of your students. Instead, I highly recommend that you and your students use our tuition estimator. It's a very easy to use form that's going to ask you a few questions about what, where, and how you're studying. And that's going to get you a personalized estimate that specifically applies to you. And it's not only going to get you that base tuition, but also any additional fees you can expect based on your academic college and other things as well. And so once you figured out that tuition, we've got some other resources here that can help students with the FAFSA, scholarship portal, and student employment, all of which, as I'm sure you already know, are incredibly crucial tools to help students offset that cost of attendance. So Raise Me is another fabulous program I want to make sure you all are aware of. This is a micro scholarship program that allows students to earn these micro scholarships, and you can see some examples here. These are micro scholarships for everyday achievements, right? So you sign up for My Path to ASU, you get $100. You schedule a campus tour, you take the campus tour, you got $250, right? And then you can stack that up to a maximum of $2,000 to supplement whatever aid you're getting through the FAFSA. And although these scholarships are smaller in dollar amount than traditional scholarships, they're also way easier to get and they're not competitive. Right? Students just need to complete their profiles by January 15th for each following fall, and then we'll calculate that up and award them if they're eligible. And so definitely something I want to make sure your students are aware of. Another thing I want to make sure you're aware of is our Earn to Learn program. And if we were in a physical room, I'd say, raise your hand if you've heard of this program. And hopefully at least some of you have. But if not, I do want to say this program is incredibly important for you to know about. If you don't remember anything else from my section of this presentation, I definitely want you to remember this. And the reason is I've been working with the Earn to Learn program for a few years now. And you'd be surprised to find out that we've actually not been able to fill all of the spots that are available in the Earn to Learn program. And it always pains me to see transfer students leaving money on the table. And so I'm kind of making this call out to this group right now to make sure that that you are able to communicate to your students about this program. We're doing what we can, but we could certainly use your help with that as well. This is a fabulous opportunity for students that are eligible. And so the basic eligibility requirements for Earn to Learn are, as a student, you need to be an Arizona resident for tuition purposes. You need to be transferring from an Arizona community college, and you need to qualify to receive at least $1 in the federal Pell Grant. And there are a couple other little things that need to be eligible, but those are really the big ones. And so if you're working with any students that you know meet these criteria, please let them know about this program. There's a QR code here, and then there's also an easy website. Thanks, Melanie, for putting that in the chat, earntolearn.org. I'm really hoping we can fill up all those spots this year and make sure no one's leaving any money on the table. So yeah, so with that, I'm going to transition into more of the admissions side of things now. And so what you're seeing here is a newly built infographic that describes our transfer admission requirements. And so if you've been working with ASU for a while, don't worry, we have not changed the admission requirements. Basically, we're just trying to communicate these in a more visual and easy to follow format because it can be a little complex and difficult to understand for those that don't work with it every day like me. And so as you can see here, a student's admission requirements for general ASU admission are going to be based on how many transferable credits a student has completed after high school at the time that they apply to ASU. Now, what you'll notice is, and what I always recommend to our students is that they get themselves to that far right category of getting the associate degree. And I know I don't have to tell you how important it is that students get the associate degrees. The thing with ASU is that we are not going to necessarily require a student to complete an associate degree prior to transfer because there may be any number of personal reasons or circumstances why a student doesn't want to do that, and we wouldn't want that to preclude a student from transferring. But at the same time, we also want students to be aware of the incredible financial benefits that they can realize by completing an associate degree in conjunction with My Path to ASU prior to transferring, because that's going to maximize the number of credits they're taking at the lower tuition rate at the community college, therefore minimizing the number of credits they have to take at the higher tuition rate at ASU, which is going to reduce the overall cost of that degree. So this is what you're seeing with the admission requirements. One thing to note is that there are some majors that have additional admission requirements. So you heard from Angela today, who had talked about the additional requirements for the WP Carey School of Business. For the vast majority of our programs, with the exception of just a couple of programs, if students meet the admission requirements for both ASU and their major, they can expect to be directly admitted to their program. We're not going to make them compete or guess as to whether or not they'll be admitted, right? We want to take the guesswork out of that process, and if they meet the requirements, we'll get them in and get out of their way so they can focus on earning their degree. And so next, I'll just briefly cover the steps to apply. And so the steps to apply are very simple, and they haven't changed recently for those of you that have worked with us for a while, right? So students just need, once the student knows they meet the requirements, they just need to submit an application, pay the application fee, send us their official transcripts. They might need your help to do that, with the admissions and records folks, but they'll have them send those official transcripts, activate their MyASU, and complete the FAFSA. Once they've done all of those things, we can typically turn around a decision within about 2 to 4 weeks, and we use a rolling admission process with no hard deadlines. And then finally, my last thing I want to cover is how to visit ASU. If you ever find yourself in the Phoenix area, I highly recommend scheduling a campus tour through visit.asu.edu. Even if you visited recently, you'd be surprised how much can change within the span of a year or two. So definitely check it out. Your students are welcome to come as well. If any of you want to bring a group of students to ASU, definitely you're welcome to reach out to the admission representative assigned to your school, and we can work with you on that as well. But we definitely want to make sure you've got plenty of options to see our campus for yourself. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to my wonderful colleagues at the ASU Online.
Here I am. Hey everyone, my name is Katie Miller-Beganis, and I am the Assistant Director of Recruitment and Enrollment for ASU Online. So we're just going to talk a little bit about what makes ASU Online different and go through some of the resources that we have to offer for our online students. So as you probably know, we still have a lot of students from throughout the Arizona, even our local Phoenix metro area, who choose to be an online student for various reasons. The biggest reason, of course, is flexibility. And plus, we still have over 300 degree programs that are offered 100% online. We have 60 new programs that are going to be launching in the fall, just to give you an idea of how many are being added. And eventually we'll probably see us sort of on par with what campus has to offer. The faculty for ASU Online is the same as the on-campus faculty. So our students online are still learning from the best, from top researchers in their field, just as our campus immersion students are. Another thing is the flexibility that we offer, which is 7.5 week class schedules. So what that means is that each semester is split in half. So it's 7.5 weeks each for fall and spring and 6 week sessions in the summer. And that's 2 sessions in the summer. And one of the things that's really great about that is students are taking 1 to 2 classes at a time, right? So a full-time student is going to be focusing on 2 classes as opposed to like 4 or 5 classes at one time. And that works really well for a lot of our learners who are balancing many things. And we can move forward and talk more about our resources. So our students still have access to ASU libraries. There's online tutoring and career services. One thing I always like to point out is the 360 Life services. So we do have counseling programs that are available for our online students. There is a lot of student engagement opportunities for online, and that just continues to grow a lot because of our student body. So they're adding clubs. I think they added a sorority a couple years ago. There is a lot of opportunity to get involved even as an online student. Tons of support for militaries we also have on campus. Online students are also eligible for Barrett Honors College. So that's just a few highlights you see here. So we provide a lot of support for our online students because they're not here. They're not going to class and then can just pop into someone's office. So the first thing that happens is they are paired with an enrollment coach. So each of our students gets paired with an enrollment coach who is going to walk them through the entire application and enrollment process. So that starts from what program is going to be the right fit for them, their previous education history. So they would talk about if they're a My Path to ASU student, we would be able to see that and be able to help them through their next steps, what additional documents they may need, financial aid support. And we're really there to make sure that the process of transferring is as easy for them as possible and that they always know who to go to with questions. The other part of that is the success coaches. So we start with our enrollment team and then we hand them over to the success team. So again, each student online gets a success coach, and their success coach is sort of their personal cheerleader, advisor. They handle a lot of the gray area. As a student, sometimes you're like, I don't know who to go to for this. Maybe I'm having a problem with an instructor. Maybe I'm just struggling in a class. Maybe my time management is off. Maybe I need some accommodations because I'm having some learning challenges. My success coach is always going to be able to talk me through what I need to do. They help with goal setting. They also help connect to resources that our students need, and they're all the way there to graduation. Our orientations help set up our students for success. So even though, more and more we have students who are familiar with Canvas and things like that, this does go beyond that. It will talk about time management, which is a huge challenge for a lot of our online students, as well as introducing them to ASU and the resources, some of which I just talked about. So you can see that they are individualized for the different populations. So ASU 11 is just our general transfer student orientation. We do have a specific one for our military students. And then for our corporate partner, Uber and Starbucks have their own, and we'll talk about that next, I think. There we go. So the Starbucks College Achievement Plan has had over 25,000 participants and over 12,000 graduates at this point. This is a great opportunity for your students who are maybe worried about how to fund the rest of their education. Starbucks partners only have to work 20 hours a week to get this benefit. It covers their tuition in full. They only pay for books and supplies. Uber also covers tuition 100%. They only pay for books and supplies. Can also be transferred to a dependent or spouse or domestic partner, sibling, parent, or legal guardian, which means that if you have any students whose parent, for example, is an Uber driver or delivery person, they might be able to gift the benefit to their child or sibling or whatnot. Or if they're just looking for a side hustle, basically, this is a great opportunity to get the rest of their education funded. Thank you. That's all I got. I'm going to pass it, I think, back to Anik.
Yeah, thanks so much, Katie, for sharing those opportunities. Let's see, I think we have something in the chat. I think we're good. We have another minute if anybody has any questions before we end our webinar today. We thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. It was our absolute pleasure to present to our Arizona partners out and around the state. Let's see, you can either enter questions in the Q&A or in the chat is fine too. Any last questions for us? Doesn't look like it. I think we're in good shape. So thanks again. Have a great rest of your afternoon, and we'll see you soon.